Okay, so sorry for the disconnect. It's not easy using social media. So I was on call with our guests, and the way I planned it was what I had planned was I'm going to use the phone I'm using right now to communicate with her and to enable her join. So sorry for that brief disconnect, and we're back. What will happen is so please still send me the link to our email. I'm able to explain to our guest. She doesn't use Facebook, so don't be upset. And I've explained to her, and I'm trusting God that she's going to join. So can you send me the link to my email? Thank you. Send the link to my email so that I will send her the link. And I've explained to her. She's a very busy person, so I didn't get the chance of running it over within the week with her. So, but it's okay. I'm sure she's going to come back. Sorry they call her to disconnect because it's my phone that I'm using to communicate with her. And what would happen is maybe we can do, if she's not able to come, I will use my laptop and she will do a team call so that we can hear her voice. Okay? So send me the link to my Gmail. Let me forward it to her. Okay, thank you, Divine. So I'm forwarding it right now to her. Okay, so do not worry. Professor Lynn can see all of you. She said she can see you. She can hear us. But it's just there's nobody at home to please don't send me the previous link. Send me the recent link. Divine, you're sending me the previous link. Please send me don't send me the previous link, please. I want the okay, so okay, so not to worry. I'm in school and I don't have access to I hope this is the current link, the one you're sending to me at Favor Mosele. Is this the current link you're sending to me? Okay, so I'm hoping that Professor Lynn would use that and I'll be able to see her. I don't know why I'm not. She's supposed to see me, and I can now and I'll be able to. Okay, so let me. Okay, so she can see and hear me, and I've been okay. Let me see. Can I add you? Why am I not seeing you? Okay. Let me see if I can see her. Professor Lynn, can you comment so I can Professor Lynn, can you comment on the comment section? Let me see if I can add you through that means, because she can see us, she can hear me. Can you comment? Just drop a comment, like a text, so that I can see if I can add you through that means. Okay, so sorry that we're taking time, but it's okay. Yes, so when we're looking at the 360-degree youth for today, and sorry, our guest, you can't see our guest, but our guest is seeing us. We're chatting here, says she's seeing me, she can see your comments. Facebook and social media is really, can be really, it can This just posted in okay. I am unable to see her comments. Please check if you can see a comment from an account as Nick, Nick. I can't see the comment. Okay, so today, why I don't know why I'm unable to see Professor Lynn. I can see most of you, but I can't see her. I don't know why I cannot see her. I can't see the account, and I don't know why. Okay, so I don't know why we're still trying. Professor Lynn can see us, she can hear us, but I don't know. There's no one there to assist her. To there's an account. There's an account. Professor Lynn, we can't see your comments. You have comment on the since where you're seeing me, you will see where they are dropping comments. The last comment is a comment from Adrian. So that's where you're to drop your comments. I don't know if you're dropping on the page itself. It's supposed to be on the live stream because we can't see your comments yet. Okay, so while we're still trying to do that, so today we're looking at the 360. We can't see your comment, Professor Lynn. I don't know if you can, if you're seeing our comments, you can see a phone. She wants to a phone that she can call. I'm using my phone online, and so your call might disturb the there's no phone number here. I don't know the number on this GSA phone here. I don't know the number. What I plan to do, if you can see, Professor Lynn, if you can see us, then drop the comment. We can't see your comment. I can see every other person's comment. If the link I sent to you, the link I sent to you is the link that you can use to you know, drop your comment directly. Professor Lynn is calling, but I can't take the call. It's going to cut cut what I'm doing. Okay, so we'll just go on until she can find her way because we're almost, our time is spent. So we're looking at the 360-degree youth, a youth that is complete, a youth that is an all-rounder, a youth that has it, not has it or nobody has it all, but at least to an extent you have it put together. So there's an account, the person that manages our page, there is an account. The name of that account is Nick. Let me get the name so you can try to send message to that person. If the person is following us, that's the account Professor Lynn is using. Let me get the name of the person. To Professor Lynn, can you send me I can't call because I'm online. What's Nicola's other name? I want to give the name to our editorial unit so that they can speak with you. So that they can speak with you. Okay, so Nicholas what's the name of Nicholas on Facebook? Professor Lynn, can you hear me? Give me the name of Nicholas on Facebook. Let our editorial look for him. Professor Lynn actually does not have a Facebook account, so she's using a staff account. So I need to get the name, and then our editorial unit to look for the person because the person is already following us on Facebook. Okay, so Professor Lynn, can you drop Nicholas' name on Facebook for me? Let's look for him. Okay, so so we'll just get straight into the question. I have some questions here, and Professor Lynn will be doing a call. And what will happen is I'm going to put it out on speaker for the few questions she can take, because she can't take all since we can't see. I was thinking a staff will be available to help her, to put her through. But since nobody is around her, there's nothing I can do. I cannot see the account for me to add her. Okay, so this is a question. There's this question here. It says there's this why saying that you cannot get a different result with same with the same method. So this question is the question is, what should be the priority of a youth who is yet to find his or her place? Is it becoming or achieving? I don't know, Professor Lynn, are you still here with me? Because I'm sure that at the bottom of the phone, you can actually see how to connect. If the phone you are using, at the bottom of the phone, please 1 second. I'm messaging her. Yes, Nicholas Dion is the account. Can you message the Nicholas Dion? Send the link directly to this Nicholas Dion. Thank you, Adrian. And see how to add the Nicholas Dion to the film, to the live chat. Adrian, can you send message directly to the Nicholas Dion? Please send the link directly to the Nicholas Dion from the page immediately. I don't know why I can't see the Nicholas Dion here, and she's online. I don't know, I'm just seeing all of you. I can't see the Nicholas Dion. And she can see me, I can't see her. Professor Lynn, I've just asked all the viewers that can see me to join. Okay, so this question is for a youth. I'm trying to look at the first question. What should be the priority of a youth who is yet to find his or her place, becoming or achieving? Okay, for one thing about this question, which I wanted Professor Lynn to talk about, and she's calling. I don't have a phone that I can use for the video so that you can hear her speak, but let's see how it goes while we're trying to sort her out. Adrian, send the link directly to that account, the Nicholas Dion. That's the account she's using, and we trust that she's going to join. One thing about okay, so Professor Lynn is still trying. She's apologizing. She sent me a message. She's really apologizing. She can't see the button. Professor Lynn, if you can see me, the button looks like a G. It's not like the symbol looks like a G. Once you can see me live at the bottom of your phone, you can see there's a symbol that looks like a G. That's the symbol you click on. Once you click on it, I will bring you on camera. It's going to show me bring Nicholas Dion on camera. And one of one of the editorial units sent the link directly to the Nicholas Dion. So that's just open the messenger, Nicholas Dion. Follow the link she dropped for you. Her name is Adrian. And once at the bottom of your phone, you will see something that looks like a G. Once you click on it, I'm going to see you and bring you on camera. So let's go on. What should be the center? Is it becoming or achieving? It is important for you to understand God's purpose for your life. And that for everything you want to do as a youth, that what should be important to you is becoming, not achieving. Achieving mentality kind of puts you on a spot. It kind of make you that you want to put mental pressure on you. You want to meet up. You want to do things, for the doing sake. You want to be seen. You want to be heard. But in becoming, it means that you have to go through the process. In becoming, it means that you want to be impacted, and then you want to make impact. In becoming, it means that you want to learn, you want to relearn, and you want to unlearn. That is becoming. So it means that you want to keep learning, you want to keep growing, you want to keep developing. You don't get to a point that you plateau. Okay? But achievement is more like, I hit this thing and I'm done. I hit this thing and I'm done. Everything you want is this making it mentality, this success mentality. You're doing it with so much, with like what would I say? You're doing it with you're doing it with so much pressure that you want to achieve. You just want to achieve. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve that. Okay, but in becoming, like, the society speaks of achievement. The society wants you to keep achieving, keep achieving, keep achieving, keep achieving. But that's not it. In becoming, is more like you influence. You become influential. And I'm not saying influential because you have money. No. Like Professor Lynn is becoming. That's what I would say. She went through the process of becoming, and now she's influential. She's making impact. That is the difference between you achieving and you becoming. All right. So for you to be, what should be your priority should be becoming. I can see somebody trying to join the video, and that should be Rejoice. So Professor Lynn, if you can check at the bottom, you can see this thing that looks like a G. I'm sure you'll be able to join me, or you can call Kelly or somebody that you can do a video call, and they will show you how to do it. Okay, but it's okay. I understand, Professor Lynn. Sorry, I'm just responding to a mail. Okay, so that's the first question. And please, can you drop your questions at the end of the day? Professor Lynn is going to do a phone call. Okay, so she's going to do a phone call and talk to us. All right. So the next question I want to take just very important question is, everyone talks about following the process in order to be great in life. How can one recognize what his process is? Now, for everything, okay, you've sent the screenshot. Okay, thank you. Send the screenshot. Thank you. Now, I love this question, and I'm sure our guest is going to also talk about this question. One thing you must understand is, whatever you plan on doing in life, whatever you plan on becoming in life, there is a process for it. If you want to get educated, if you want to get a good education, there's a process for it. How? You need to apply to a school. You need to do maybe your high school, your secondary school, you do your primary school, you do your secondary school, and then you get into the university. That is a process. That is the process of you becoming maybe a doctor, a writer, a lawyer, a teacher, or something. Those are the processes. So for a youth, you must pass through those processes. And in passing through those processes, there are things that you also learn. There are things you also relearn. There are things, it exposes you to things that you didn't know. There are things I didn't know before coming to Canada, because I wanted to further my studies. And in undergoing the process of furthering my studies to lecture, I have learned certain things. So this year is my process. And our guest today used to be like you and I. She was a teenager. She was a youth. Today she's a professor. Today she's a provost. Yeah, I can see Professor Lynn. That's the account. Okay, Professor Lynn, let me see if I can now add you. I don't know why I'm not seeing you here. I can see you. This is the Professor Lynn's account. So let me try to add you. I don't know why I'm seeing every other person, but I'm not seeing this account. Professor Lynn, there's a G sign. Now I can see your comment. That means it will be easy to add you. There's a G sign. Just check at the bottom of your phone where you're watching me from. You're going to see something like a G sign. You just click on it. I'll be able to see you. Okay, I've asked viewers to join me. The viewers I can see, I've asked them to join me. See if you can see what I asked you to join. Okay. I'm sure we'll get it to work. At least we'll see your comment, Professor Lynn. I'm sure we'll get it to work. I am very positive that we'll get. I'm just seeing other people, but I'm not seeing the Nicholas. I don't know if he's following the page. Okay, so I'm sure we're going to get it to work. So that's the process. So what is it that while we wait for our guests? Okay, have you sent her the screenshot? Okay, Professor Lynn, my PA says she has sent you the link, the screenshots, what the icon looks like. So please, can you just follow that link she sent to you? Sorry, the screenshot she sent to you. You're going to see it at the tip of your phone. Just click on it and I'll add you. Okay? So Adrian, can you please keep chatting with that account? That's the account Professor Lynn is using. Please just chat with the account, okay? Tell her what to do. Explain to her. You can just... Yes, please, can you chat with the account, Adrian? Or Favorite must tell anybody that has access to our page. Chat with that Nicholas Dion. Explain to her what you want her to do. You can do a voice note. Okay, while we go on, I'm sure she's going to touch on all these things, all right? At least we can see her. There's progress. Okay, so now that's your process. I'm undergoing my process. I can't just wake up and become a professor like Professor Lynn and become a lecturer like Professor Lynn. Meanwhile, she's a woman I adore so much. Like, how can you be a provost and you're a lecturer? And she doesn't miss her class. She comes to class before me. She comes to class before me. Very, very, she's so involved in the lives of her students. I so love that woman. I'm not supposed to be saying it on air. She's so involved, so simple, So I am going through the process of becoming like her because I want to lecture. So that's your process. So depending on what you want, what do you want to be in life? What's your end product? What do you envision yourself to be in the next 10 years or 5 years, depending on your age and depending on the level you are? Whatever you envision yourself becoming, that is the process you must go through. So if you want to be a medical doctor, then you go for the training. That is your process. You go to the university, you go to medical school and all that. You want to be a lawyer. All right. Yes. Good. Yes. She's coming. Yes, she's coming. Professor Lynn is showing that I'm adding you, so it's connecting. Hi! Hello! I'm so happy to have you. Wow, it worked at last.
Oh, I'm so happy. You know what? I'm going to get out of my, I'm actually just going to shut my computer because I'm so afraid if I touch another button, I'm going to mess something up. So, how are you all? I am so sorry to take up so much of your time.
Sorry, no, we still have time.
Facebook is not one of my strong things.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good with other social media, but not Facebook. So,
I told them. Okay, so I'll just ask you this question quickly, and then.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So this question says, okay, what should be the priority of a youth who is yet to find his or her place? Is it becoming or achieving?
Yeah, no, I love that question, and it's a hard question because, how do you know what to become if you're not achieving something, right? So, the way I was thinking about it was, in terms of, finding out what you're best at being, and how you're going to succeed in life. You really do need to do things that you're good at. And so I'll tell you how I, kind of figured out what I was good at. When I was a young girl, I loved to read. I read all the time. I grew up out in the country, was pretty isolated. I had siblings, but they were a fair bit older than I was, so they didn't, you know, they liked me, but they didn't really want to play with me because I was little.
Yeah.
So I read all the time,
Yeah.
and I would read anything I could get my hands on, a catalog, you know, the Reader's Digest, anything I could get my
Yeah.
hands on, I would read. And I learned that I loved to read,
Yeah.
and that led me to learn to love to write.
Hmm.
And so I started, you know, reading and writing, and, you know, loved my English classes at school. And I knew that being a literature professor was what I wanted to be
Yeah.
from a very young age, even though I didn't even really know what a professor was, but I knew I knew I wanted to be one.
Yeah.
And, you know, that, and I stuck to that all the way through. And because I was studying literature, people would often say, "Oh, you'll never get a job. You'll never get a job if you do that. It's not practical, right?
Hmm.
You should do something practical." I was very good at math, which is
Hmm.
unusual for someone who's good at literature. I
Yeah.
was actually extremely good at math. And people would say, you know, you should do math because you can get a more practical job
Yeah.
with a math degree than you can with a literature degree. But I really loved literature, and I also I learned French in
Hmm.
high school, and got to be pretty good at French. So that led me to read literature in French as well.
Okay.
So I ended up doing my first degree in English and French literature,
Okay.
joint degree.
Okay.
And I just kept doing what I liked and what I was good at.
Mhm.
And that helped me get where I wanted to be. So I always tell young people, just do whatever you're good at.
Hmm.
And don't worry what people say.
I need to write it down. Hmm.
Yeah, you know, and I've never ever seen a student of mine not succeed if they just did what they're really good at and what they really love. People will notice you. If you're good at something, people will notice that you're good at it.
Hmm.
And they will value you for that. So I was actually last evening, I was at the Graduate Students Association banquet for Brock University, and there were graduate students from, you know, every discipline there, you know, medical science, English, you know, philosophy, and they were all bright, ambitious young people who were doing what they were good at, and you could tell that
Yeah.
they were very happy to
Yeah.
be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm sure they're all taking that note and I'm saying, yeah, do what
Well,
you're good
after
at.
being
Very,
away so
very
long.
important. Yeah, I love Lynn's response. So we're gonna take the next question. I won't analyze.
Sure.
Everyone talks about following the process in order to be great in life. How can one recognize what his process is?
Well, yeah, that was an interesting question too, because I wasn't sure what the process is, and I wondered if the process had to do with maybe a set of expectations that society has for us, particularly as women.
Mm,
There are certain expectations of, you know, how our lives should unfold. I often think of this as kind of the narrative or the story that we're meant to fit into.
mm,
And I think we have to be very careful about trying to conform to some kind of external process
mm,
that, you know, may be rooted in some cultural beliefs and expectations that aren't, you know, necessarily the best things for all of us.
mm.
I will tell you that I was married the first time when I was very young. I mean, young for, you know, kind of my standards. I was 23 when I was married the first time. And I felt a great deal of pressure to be married
Yeah.
because I grew up in a small town, and people kept saying, "Oh, you know, you should be married by now." I was engaged to a man when I was 18, and that didn't work out. And then I ended up marrying this other man when I was 23. And he was a very good person in a lot of ways, but he was also an alcoholic. And I
Mm.
ended up married to an alcoholic for 20 years.
Wow.
And yeah, and that's, you know, I mean, as I said, there were good things in that relationship, but very many hard ones. And I was fortunate to get two amazing children out of the deal. But the marriage, of course, ended badly. Um, And you know what, when my kids have asked me, my kids are 22 and 25, by the way, when my kids ask me what, you know, what advice I have for them, the only thing I ever say to them is don't rush to get married.
Oh.
Right? You know, don't feel that pressure that you've got to be married by a certain age, you've got to have children by a certain age. You know, I remarried when I was 41 to a wonderful man who treats me very well. You know, and I wish that had been the relationship I had in the first place. But instead, you know, because I felt that there was a narrative or a story, or as you say, a kind of a process that I was supposed to conform to, I ended up in a marriage that caused me a great deal of pain, and, you know, caused my family a great deal of pain. And so I would say, you know, to people, you know, young people, if you can take your time, take your time, you know. I mean, don't feel that pressure, and don't capitulate to a feeling of pressure that you need to be doing something on a particular timeline because it suits somebody else. It doesn't work out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I can see all their comments. They are all
Yes.
so delighted. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we're picking down points, very wise sayings, and I'm sure we're listening. So I'm going to ask the next question. He said, how can one fight the give up mentality?
Yes. Yeah, that's a really important one. You know, and it may seem strange that even, you know, in the situation I'm in now, after all the jobs I've had and all the things I've accomplished in my life, I still have I had a day like that last week where I just thought, you know what? I give up. It's too hard. You know, a couple of things went wrong at work, and some people that I really relied on, you know, stopped supporting me, and it was very discouraging. So, I mean, I guess my first thing is everybody feels like that. Everybody, even the people around you that you think would never in a million years feel like that, they all do. Everybody does. Even the most powerful, successful, accomplished, confident people around you feel like that sometimes.
That's true.
Because it's human, right? It's human. You know, I mentioned that I was married to an alcoholic, so I went for many years to an organization called Al-Anon, right, that supports people who have alcoholics in their lives, family members. And you know, there were a lot of really wise sayings that I learned from Al-Anon, but one of the things we talked about the most there is you're allowed to be human. Everybody's allowed to be human. Everybody's allowed to make mistakes. Everybody is allowed to feel discouraged sometimes or lose their confidence. So how do you get past that? I think one of the things that helps me the most is remembering that everybody else around me is human. When I think, well, maybe I'm just not good enough, or maybe there's, you know, somebody else would be better doing this work, or and then I remember that every single one of those people around me that I think are you know, perfect and never make mistakes or never have problems, they all do. You know, and remembering that means that it's okay. It's okay for me to have bad days. There are days when you know, I have to, you know, be very kind of humble and realize that you know, I can't do everything. I am going to make mistakes in a job like mine right now, especially being the president of a university. When I make a mistake, it affects a lot of people. It affects thousands of people, really, at this point, you know. And so when I make a mistake, it's you know, it means I have to really have my own sense of self and say, you know what, that was a bad decision. I regret making it, and I'm going to do my best to fix it. Right? But not to beat myself up. And that was one of the things I learned about myself, and the reason I ended up staying married to an alcoholic for a very long time was because I didn't I didn't have that sense of confidence.
Yeah.
I didn't have that ability to forgive myself, or to insist that I should be treated well. And when going through Al-Anon for many years and going through a lot of counseling, I learned that I don't have to be a perfectionist.
Right. I get that.
Yeah.
I need to write it down.
Yeah, in Al-Anon, one of the phrases we always use there is progress, not perfection. Right? Yeah. You do your best every day, and if you make mistakes, you learn from them, but you don't beat yourself up over them anymore. And that's great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sure we're picking the point. You're allowed to be human. You're allowed to make mistakes, but don't beat yourself up.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So we're going straight to the next question. Sorry. Okay, so can you share a personal experience on how you gained self-confidence when you were much younger, like a teenager or a youth?
Yeah, sure. When I was really young, I said there were a couple of things I was good at and a lot of things I wasn't good at. I was not good at sports. I can tell you, I was just terrible at sports. I had no hand-eye coordination. I just, I couldn't hit a volleyball well. I couldn't shoot basketball well, couldn't hit a baseball. I was not good at any of those things. And it was hard on me because, when it came to picking teams at school or whatever, I was always the last one picked. Always. And it's like, I hated gym class. I hated the thought of it. But then a weird thing happened, which is, and Linda can attest to this. Then I grew into a kind of a tall human being. I'm not super tall, but I'm about 5'8". I'm pretty tall.
She's so tall. She's tall. No, she's very tall.
I'm pretty tall.
I'm like, I should reach her somewhere here. She's very tall.
Yeah. And that's just an accident of genetics. But anyway, I grew into a tall person, and because of this, it was a funny thing. I remember, I think I was in grade 5 or something, and I was this tall in grade 5. So I was tall really young. I was like 11 years old. I was this tall. And it was track and field day, right? And the teacher said, well, you have to go outside. And I said, look, I'm not any good at sports. Can I just sit on the side and read a book or something? That's all I want to do. And they said, no, you got to go out and run this race. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to be any good at it. But so they put me out there and I ran this race and I won. And probably because I was a foot taller than everybody else. And then the teacher came up and said, okay, well, now you're on the track team. I said, I'm on the track team? I can't be on the track team. I'm terrible at this. But they put me on the track team. And I learned that, even though I was terrible at every other sport, without exception, I was a really good runner. And I became a long distance runner, and I did long distance running, all my life, really until I was about 55. I would run, 10K a day. Yeah. Just love to run, love to run. And so that was something, I said, because I had kind of I just assumed that I was terrible at everything. And then I learned suddenly that there was one thing that I was good at. And so I just leaned into that, and I did that. And it gave me a great deal of joy over the years. I loved running. I loved going out, especially, a nice day in the fall or something. I would go out and run for kilometers and kilometers, to just enjoy that. And I found over the years, it was such a great way of dealing with stress, just relaxing. I would use running as a time where I would be thinking. If I was writing, like when I was writing my PhD dissertation, I'd get up in the morning and I'd read for a couple of hours, and then I'd go run. And I'd run for an hour and a half. And I'd do all my thinking while I was running. And then by the time I came back, my brain was, really fresh and relaxed and so on. So, that's just one example of, I found something that was mine, and I didn't have to worry about all those other things I was bad at. I'm still bad at them. But you learn as you get older, it doesn't really matter. Right? Nobody cares right now whether I can play volleyball well. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. Or
Yeah.
golf or anything, you know. I tried to play the piano. My mother is a piano teacher.
Hmm.
Tried like crazy to teach me to play the piano. I'm not good at it, right? Just not good at it at all. But you know, this is the thing I always say is if you figure out what you're good at and what makes you happy and you do that, you know, life is good. And as I said, by the time, honestly, by the time you're 20 years old or so, people don't really care about all the other stuff, right? Nobody asks, gets up every day and says, you know, hey, you know, are you good at playing soccer? Unless you're a soccer player, nobody's going to ask you that.
Yeah.
It stops being important. But when you're young, it seems like every time you can't do something, that it's a failure. And it's not
Hmm.
really a failure. It's just not you, right? Not everybody's good at everything. Can't be, right? What would the world be like if everybody was good at everything? It would be crazy.
Hmm. Thank you so, so much. I, I'm sure I really grab it, but I just want to reiterate what she just said. That if you're young and it looks like you're not good at something, then it means it looks like the world is just crashing on you. But that's not true, because there's always something you are good at. If she didn't if she had, if Professor Lynn had said no to her teacher that asked her to run that day, she wouldn't have discovered that these great qualities lying in her. So find out what you are good at and stop bothering yourself over the things you're not good at, because they keep depressing you. So find out what you are good at and then build it and then grow it and enjoy it. It will make you happy. Thank you so much, Professor Lynn. So much wisdom. This is what I get to enjoy in her class. So you just enjoy with me. And I'm sure you all will pay me. I'm going to put my, not in Naira, in dollars. Okay, so the next one, ma'am, will be how can a 360-degree youth know how to navigate through life part time?
Yeah. Again, you know, I'm a great lover of words, as Linda knows. I'm always very interested in language and how language works. And the fact you use word navigate, right, which you know makes me think about being in a ship or being in a vehicle or something, and finding your way. And you know, how do you navigate most of the time? Well, you navigate with a map, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And we talked a little bit before about, you know, processes and narratives and scripts. So by a map, I don't really mean, you know, having some sort of preset understanding of what your life is meant to be. I mean more so having things along the way that help you make sense of where you are,
Hmm.
that help you navigate, right?
Yeah.
And you know, over the course of my life, I've had some things that have helped me navigate.
Hmm.
That can be sometimes a mentor, right? Someone who's older, or more experienced, or has life experience that they can share. And you know, when I was going through, you know, my difficult time with my first husband, I had friends who would say, you know, you're not happy. You don't seem happy, right? And these were friends who were trying to put me in the right direction, and help me move forward. Um, I, at various points in my life, I have relied on counselors, and I mean mental health counselors, where I have gone and said, you know, I'm going through a difficult time right now and I need to talk things through. And I have never been embarrassed by that or ashamed of it or anything else. I actually think it's a sign of good mental health when you say sometimes, I'm a bit overwhelmed right now, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I will say, even, you know, when I came to Brock 2 years ago, it was in the pandemic and the place was empty, right? I came to an empty campus with no
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
My husband was back and forth between Ontario and Saskatchewan, another province, because he had his elderly parents were alive then. His mother's still alive. He's talking to her right now. I can hear her. She's 99, so she doesn't hear very well. But
Wow.
it's a ripe old age. But, you know, so my husband was back and forth. My children were in Alberta, even further away. And I was alone in this new city where I didn't know anybody. And you know, I was very much on my own. And it was tough, right? Because I didn't have any friends in town. The only people I ever met were people who worked for me. And I mean, you know, I don't usually say it that way, but in this case, they actually did work for me. So, you know, making friendships is an unusual thing. So it was very difficult. And I struggled for a bit. And I actually reached out to a mental health counselor and did a couple of sessions and just talked it through. And then said, you know, okay, I feel better now. I can keep going, right? You know, so that's one of the ways I navigate is by trying to keep an eye on myself and getting, you know, I often find that my body will start sending me clues if things aren't going well, that I'm not maybe sleeping as well, or, you know, there are different things like I get, you know, with kind of hives, or, you know, like it's kind of, you know, and it's my body telling me that my mind isn't right. Your bodies are good that way, right? They actually, your mind and body are very much connected. And sometimes your body will start showing the effects of your mind just being not very settled. And so for me, that's a big navigation tactic, is to know when I can't do it on my own and I need somebody to talk to, or, you know, very good friends, or, you know, family members whom I can reach out to. That helps me. I worked for a long time with Indigenous people here in Canada, and the place where I worked, we had elders who were attached to the university I worked at, and it was great. For the years I worked there, I would go and sit with the elders, and yeah, it was very relaxing. They would just, you know, we would do a smudge, right? It's a little ceremony with, you know, you burn some sage, and then they would just sit and talk very quietly. And I always left those meetings feeling very peaceful, you know, very kind of grounded. And, you know, I think we need to do that kind of thing. You know, I think we try to convince ourselves all the time that we're self-sufficient, but we're not really. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, this point hit me. Sorry, I just want to write that. Okay, before I ask Professor Lynn the next question, please, if you have your own question other than the questions that you sent to me, please drop it and she's going to take it. That's your credit for watching live, not that you're rewatching. Okay, is this a question? Please, if you send a question, if I've not seen it, I'm not on my glasses, just drop it afresh. Okay, so there's something Professor Lynn mentioned, and it really struck me. We're not self-sufficient. We will never be self-sufficient. And there's something she mentioned in trying to explain the point. She said she knew when she knew she could not do it on her own, and so she had to reach out. But I kind of find out that for young people, especially in Africa, in Nigeria and West Africa, you don't reach out. You kind of spiritualize everything. And I know that we downplay a lot of mental health counselors. We don't even have. I don't think we have. So when you are done, they just tell you pray, or they tell you to go to your pastors. Your pastors are not counselors. They're not psychologists or people that you need to speak to. We need to start, you know, talking to the right people. Not everything is spiritual. There are times that the people you even need, it might be a total stranger that you need to talk to, or somebody you know that you honor. Not necessarily that this person has to be your pastor. So remember this, that there are times that your body will just give you the sign that I can't go on, I can't go further, I need assistance. Your body will tell you, because it happens to me. When I first came into Canada, it happened to me. I just felt I left my family, I left everything I knew, and I came down to Canada. It was in November, and suddenly I just shut down. I'm a very strong person, but I shut down. And I didn't just keep quiet. What I did was the department facility that employed me, I met the chair of the department. She's Jillian, very lovely woman. And we talked, and it helped me. And then she shared her issues. I didn't know her husband was also sick. And then we helped each other, and we talked, and I was okay. I didn't go to see a pastor. I had to see someone that at that point, she's my boss and she's older than I am, but we just connected, and we still connect. So know when your body can move on, you're not all sufficiency. No, when not your body is telling you no, and look for an answer. Okay. All right. So I had to mention this point very much because I know it's a problem with youth in West Africa. Okay, so this one says, what are about rounding up? What are the things that can play a major role? What are the things that play a major role in limiting a youth, and how can one tackle them?
Boy, that is a big question, and it has, I think, so many answers, right? We've talked about one thing already that can limit youth, which is a set of expectations, a set of cultural expectations, and these sorts of expectations can be, of course, extraordinarily difficult for women, and very, very difficult for people who have, come from, have different gender or sexual identities, who are struggling to know who they are and to be their true selves. One of my two children is gay. My daughter is gay, and she's struggled for a long time trying to understand who she was, and when she was able to be honest about who she was, and knew that she would be accepted by the people who loved her, she was much better. But she struggled with mental health for a long time before that. So I said the expectations of others can be really limiting. I mean, obviously there are resource issues that can really restrict what a person can do. Going to school it's expensive, it's hard, and I grew up in a working class family in Southern Ontario. I really wanted to go to university, of course, because I knew I had to be a professor, but I didn't have any support. My parents didn't think that I should go to university because I was not only because I was a girl, that was part of it, but because they didn't know anybody who went to university, right? They had grown up working class people. Going to university was something that other people did. My brother went to university. He was the first person in our family to go. But, the idea of going to university, they just couldn't see any point in it, right? I should just get married and have children, and that should be it, right? Life is over. And so that meant that I had to put myself through school. And I put myself entirely through school. I worked as an undergraduate. I had one job that I worked about 20 to 30 hours a week while I went to school. And sometimes I had to take even additional jobs. So I would be, I tutored English as a second language, or French, or math, or whatever, whatever I could do, that was reasonable to get paid to do, I would do. And so sometimes, keeping going when you're struggling against those, that absence of money, it's hard, and I won't try to say it's easy, because I did it for a very long time. And it's easy to get discouraged sometimes and say, I just can't do this anymore. I'm too tired to work all these jobs and go to school. But you really have to just kind of hold on and come out the other side of it, right? You have to just get through that difficult period and get that education. I always say an education is the one thing that nobody can ever take from you, right? Once you have an education, it's yours. And it will always benefit you in one way or another in life, not only in terms of obviously earning money, but, becoming the person you want to be, being the parent you want to be, how you raise your kids. I'm very happy, to be able to interact with my kids now that they're in university and talk to them about things. So, I said that's certainly something that, is hard to overcome. It's hard to be poor and keep going. I can, when I said, I say that from, some considerable experience. But if you keep believing in the goal that you're trying to get to, I was determined I was going to get, that first degree, and then eventually the other two. I just couldn't let anything stop me. You just had to, and you have to sometimes just acknowledge that it's hard. And some people have it easier, right? Some people have it. I had all sorts of friends at university whose parents paid for their apartments and paid their tuition, and you know, it was sometimes it made me resentful to think, well, you know, why are their lives so easy and mine is hard? But you just can't get caught up in that, right? Your life is your life.
Yeah.
Just, you know, live yours and don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just live your own.
Thank you so much, Professor Lynn. So much wisdom. Okay. All right. So how do I align my passion with my career?
Mm-hmm. Well, I said, you know, pretty much if you are doing what you are good at, it will become your career somehow or other, right? You will find someone who sees what you're doing as valuable. Now, of course, not everybody's going to become a professor, but, you know, there are many different ways that you can use your passions in your work. My older child, 25-year-old, she's a theater performer and a very good writer. And right now she's graduating university this June, and she's very worried that she's not going to find a job. And I keep saying, just keep doing what you're good at, right? Just and you will get somewhere. And I don't know what job she'll end up in eventually, but I know she will get something that she will really love just because she's good at it. Right? She's already working with a writing center, teaching adults how to write better. You know, she will keep going with that, and you know, I think eventually she'll probably do a teaching degree and become a teacher. But you know, what I said, it's just you just keep doing what you're good at. There are times in life where you have to take jobs that, you know, have nothing to do with your passion, because you just have to pay the bills, and that's okay, right? You got to pay the bills. You got to pay the bills, right? I mean, I've had lots of jobs that I didn't particularly enjoy because I had to pay the bills. But you know, if you just keep saying it's important to get back to doing what you really love, you will get somewhere.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this point really struck me. If you're doing what you like, it will become your career. For those of you that want to always divide it, I know the youth I'm talking to, you want to divide it, your career, your passion, your skill. It's just trying to overstress you. You know, you now try to put them in different categories. There's no need. This is just the underlying point. If you're doing what you like, it will become your career, and it will become your passion. So your passion is now your career. Okay, so thank you so much. There's a question here. I took note of it. There's other questions, but we can't take all because I wanted to touch up the last two. But this person has been asking this question. I had to copy it out. She said, what really defines a youth? Is it age or stage?
Oh, what an interesting question. That is a really interesting question.
Yeah.
I would say it's stage more than age. And I will tell you that, you know, I've had young people in my life, you know, two of them being my own kids, who are, you know, very much wise beyond their years. And you know, I've talked about one child. I'll talk about the other one. My son, who is 22, is an athlete. He didn't get it from me. He got it somewhere. I give him my height. He's very tall. But, I didn't get very athletic.
You're an athlete.
Yeah, well, somebody in my family got it, but it wasn't me. But my son is an amazing athlete. He started playing basketball when he was 3 years old. And he has, you know, just been devoted to it all of his life. He practices many hours a day, and his goal was to get a scholarship to go to the United States to play basketball. And he worked very, very hard, and eventually did get a scholarship. He went to the United States just for a year. He decided to come back to Canada for a lot of reasons, some of them having to do with the president down there that he didn't like very much, but he was ready to come back to Canada. But, you know, I watched my son go, you know, I dropped him off in the United States when he was 18 years old, in a, you know, a strange place. And this is a terrible story. I'll tell this story. It's a sad story, but it will make my point. 3 days after I left my son there, he was in a car accident.
Wow.
Fortunately, he wasn't really badly hurt. He was in the back of a car and the car was hit from the side, and he ended up with quite a major concussion. And he was, stuck here in this strange place, didn't know anybody. For 2 weeks, he had to lie in a dark room
Wow.
with the lights off. Couldn't look at his phone. He could talk on the phone, but he couldn't look at his phone. And I said, 18 years old, and it was so hard for me not to, jump on an airplane and go back and just help him. But he said, no, I'll be okay, Mom. And the maturity that he showed, making it through that difficult period in his life, showed to me that, he was very much an adult.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I have known very many, very many adults, probably too many adults, who, even at the age of, 50 or 60, behave like children sometimes. They're
Yeah.
very self-centered. They're very demanding. You've heard me talk a little bit about addiction, and I know it's one of the things you talk about in your group.
Yeah.
Beyond my first husband, there have been other people in my life who have struggled with addiction. And one of the things I've learned, in all the years working around addiction that I've learned, is that they say that the addict remains at the age that they were when they started drinking or using that drug or whatever. So if someone starts drinking heavily at 17, pretty much they remain 17 in their minds for the rest of their lives. Which is a crazy thing to think about. So you could have a 65-year-old person who in their mind really has the mindset of a 17-year-old. And I said, there are other people who grow up and are very mature, very young. I think, in a lot of ways, I was like that because, I was very much on my own when I was young. That I had to grow up very fast. I had to be very responsible. I said, I had to earn all my own money, and it just was the way my life was, and that was okay. But there are other people who just never become responsible people, ever. It's sad, but it's true.
Thank you so much. Wow. So a youth is defined by stage. This is so okay, we'll soon let Professor Lynn leave. Thank you so much. So there's two questions that I take. How do I create balance for every area of my life as a youth?
That's a good question too. I think it depends on what kind of life you have. One of the things that I say to my son, who is an extraordinarily responsible person, is every once in a while I will say to him, go out and be a kid. And he says, like, oh, Mom, I have too much work to do. I was like, no, go out tonight. Go out with your friends and be a kid. You only get to do that once, right? You need, even if your life is full of responsibility, you need to find times to just be playful and happy and relax. Everybody needs that. And even as adults, we need times sometimes to just, be very relaxed and put all the responsibility away. You don't do it for very long, but I think if you get so focused on being responsible, you can miss parts of life that are really worth having. I didn't really have a youth where I went to, a lot of parties or anything like that. I was always working. I was working this job, that job, trying to keep myself together. But, if I had my life to live over again, I would tell my younger self to have a bit more fun. It's okay. It's okay. Not dangerous fun, but some fun. For sure, because it's good for us as beings to experience joy, right? To be happy, to be to just be full of life, and so it's just making sure you make time for yourself to have those happy moments and be relaxed, even if your life is full of responsibility. You have to find some times to let down a bit.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. This really hit me. A lot of youth in this part of the world, in Africa, in Nigeria, most of us don't know how to play. We are just too serious, and I'm very thankful that young people are listening to you. We're just too serious, too stopped. We don't know how to play. We don't know how to have fun. You know, just have fun, positive fun. She's not talking about the negative one that destroys, but positive fun. Be a kid. You know, children, when they want to play, they don't even care if someone is around them. They just play. They are free. They just laugh. Have you seen a child laugh? The child laughs heartily, like he will never cry. So just be a kid, just play. And the last question for Professor Lynn, so because we need to let her go, is, does a 360-degree youth necessarily need to be on the spotlight?
Yeah, I thought about that question. And the way I interpret it, tell me if I'm wrong, is do you kind of have to always be kind of the center of attention, or or can you kind of put your own situation aside sometimes and focus on other people? And I would say you need some of both, right? You need some parts of your life where you're very focused on your own goals and your own directions and that kind of thing. But as you get older, this is one of the things you learn as you get older, is that you actually build yourself up through other people, and doing more for other people. And that's something I really enjoy about the work I do at the university, is that I'm always working now on behalf of other people. And that's really what my job isn't about me. It's about Linda and about 19,000 other, mostly young, some older, people who are at Brock University, who are developing their own lives. And so when you're young, you do have to have some focus on yourself. But as I said, you will benefit a great deal from helping to build up other people along the way. And I think the young generation now, the people the age of my kids, or even younger than that, I think they have a really good sense of just kind of civic responsibility. I'm always amazed by the number of young people helping out with charities, or doing volunteer work, or helping people around them. The pandemic has really brought this out in a lot of people, this sense of responsibility for one another. Just on Friday, I hosted a lunch for there's an award at Brock University called the Sturgate Award, and that crazy word, that's a Latin word, and it means keep going, or don't give up. And apparently it was the last word spoken by General Brock after him, our university banned, when he was dying. Apparently he looked up and said Sturgate to his army, saying to keep going. And so we have an award at Brock called the Sturgate Award, and it's given to 10 students who are very academically gifted, but who do great amounts of community work. And so I hosted these 10 young people on Friday for lunch. And they were amazing. Like the things, I don't know how they find time to do all the things they're doing. I mean, they're all, grade point averages well up in the 90s, but one was running a food bank to help people who were food insecure, and another person ran an organization to help homeless people. And I mean, it was just amazing the things these young people were doing. And you could tell that it meant so much to them. They didn't just do it to look impressive. They were really, really committed to helping other people, and it made them happy, enormously happy to do that. So yeah, and it's something we have to kind of find those times in your life when you need to focus on yourself, and other times when you have the bandwidth to help other people. I remember the years when I was doing my PhD. I had to be very focused. Like I barely spoke to any, other than people in my PhD class. I was very, very focused, because getting that done was really hard, and it needed my full attention all the time. But now at at a different stage in my life, I can be more focused on helping other people, and it does give me a great deal of joy to do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor Lynn. So much
Well,
wisdom. And so before we let you go, what's your closing remark, your advice to the they're so excited
well,
to see what's your
yeah.
advice?
Well, again, first of all, my deep apologies for wasting so much of your time. This will tell you that the difference between people of your generation and mine is that even though we deal with technology every day, we're not as good at it as you younger people. So my apologies for taking so long, but I'm glad it worked out and we connected. I would love to meet all of you. I hope that someday you get to come to Canada, or I get to go to Nigeria, or both. That would be great. Um,
Oh, to
love to
Nigeria. Yeah, on in-person.
Well, absolutely. And, we're always looking for more students at Brock University. So if you are interested in coming, we have great people to help you.
A few of them that would be interested. Talk about Brock on the graduate, like for an African student to school at Brock.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and we have a great international office that's very, very interested in helping people who are interested in studying. But I guess the final thing I would say is, and this it sounds glib, and I don't mean it to be, but just be kind to yourselves. Life is hard. The last couple of years have been really hard, and I think sometimes, we came out, or I'd like to think we're coming out of this terrible pandemic, but, every time we think it's gone, it comes back in some way. We're going through another difficult wave here in Ontario. So we've been dealing with all of the things with the pandemic. Now we have this horrible war going on, in the Ukraine, and just terrible human suffering there. And it's really easy to get kind of overwhelmed by it all. But just be gentle with yourselves, and value yourself and the people around you, and try not to dwell in the negative. The human race is somehow amazingly resilient. And we all keep going through such difficult circumstances, and things will get better. This moment is not forever. I'd say that to my kids every night when when they talk about things that are the difficult things going on in the world, and I always say, remember, this will not be forever, right? 5 years from now, things will look different. They may look better, they will look different. So try not to get lost in the negative. There's still a great deal of good and wonderful things in the world. So it's been a great pleasure to spend time with you. Thank you. I very much appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Despite your busy schedule, I am most honored. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope youths, they stayed for 2 hours because they must hear you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Wonderful.
Let you go.
Okay, thank you.
Good day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm sure that we are so filled up with the wise words from Professor Lynn, and not to worry, we'll still have another time. Maybe we might have her for the exponential conference that is coming up in June. If you want us to have her, then maybe you send me a special mail asking me to invite her, and then who knows, we'll be the ones to bring her to Nigeria for the in-person conference. Okay, so I know we have been filled up. I'm sorry for taking your time, network problem and all that. You have a lot that you need to ponder on. And so this month, sorry, we were not able to do Matters Arising for last month. This month was rich. And then I'll see you at some other time. That would be on Saturday. I'm seeing you on Saturday by 8 p.m. for When Youth and Teen Spray. And then we'll get ready for the exponential conference. We might be bringing Professor Lynn if she has the time, but and other people, other resource persons for the experiential conference. So thank you for staying out. This is Rainbow Youth and Teens Ministry. It's a place where young people are equipped with the right knowledge and skill that they need to lead better lives so that they can contribute positively to the sustainable development of their society. You want to join us, you want to know more about us, you're welcome. Just send us a mail and we'll attend to you. Thank you so much. See you on Saturday by 8 p.m. This is Auntie Kelechi. Bye-bye.